It's about 4 after the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's webinar, and thank you so much for joining. Today's training is going to be about how to leverage Northspire's document library, which is really a core part of the command center, right? I probably don't need to tell you, based on this audience, that how important managing documents is over the course of a project lifecycle. So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. If you attended Wednesday's webinar on Q4 product updates, you might have already heard my spiel, but if you weren't, I'll share it again. So my name is Haley Yeager. I'm a product manager at Northspyre. Prior to Northspyre, I spent about 6 years at JLL. So I guess I should say I have a background in real estate and construction. I spent 6 years at JLL working as a project manager, delivering design and constructions for a financial services client. And then prior to that, I spent 2 years with a commercial construction manager, mostly building institutional projects. All right, so I did just want to also give a plug to our awesome customer success and support teams. You probably all know your personalized real estate transformation consultant. They are an absolutely great resource, wealth of knowledge. They come from backgrounds either in real estate and construction or in software. We also have a concierge help desk. You can reach them at concierge@northspyre.com via email or in the chat box that you'll see when you have the app open. It's the bottom right of the browser screen. And they have a really, really quick response time. So if, for example, your RETC is stuck in a meeting, you might get quicker help and a quicker response from concierge. So I highly recommend using that avenue as well. And then lastly, our knowledge base. So our team has spent tons of time updating this knowledge base, keeping it up to date with the most relevant information as we are constantly making updates to the product. So there's 350 articles there. Definitely check it out if you prefer the self-help method. All right, I wanted to point out some of our upcoming webinars. So the next one is going to be February 21st, and this is going to be around our integration with MRI. So if you are an MRI user, that's your accounting software. This is a great one to attend, or if you're considering switching to MRI, great opportunity to learn more about that. February 23rd, we're going to be reviewing running a modern pencil rec process in Northspyre. So this is using our construction payment tracker. It's just totally digitizing the traditionally, like back and forth 2-week process that it takes to get sign off on progress payment to a contractor. Following that, February 28th, we're going to have managing LIHTC and other complex capital stacks. So if you are an affordable housing developer or just have complex capital stacks, this is going to be a great one to attend. And then after that, March 6th, we have the introduction to pre-development in Northspyre. So that's going to look like early budget planning, bid management, our vendor marketplace, and more. So these are just the most immediate webinars coming up, but we do have them scheduled through April. So check out the full list and register for those that you are interested in. All right, so as for an agenda, we're going to talk a little quickly high level about the feature and how it's different from other document management systems out there. Then we're going to dive into the product and get into a pretty detailed training. And then lastly, we'll save a few minutes at the end for Q&A. So how is Northspire's document library special? If you can imagine, before you're sifting through your email, downloading a file from your email to then upload it to SharePoint, Dropbox, or even your hard drive. Meanwhile, saving the document doesn't at all help you ensure your project is on track, but is rather just storage. Now with things like document approvals and the ability to link documents to your schedule in Northspyre, managing documents is simultaneously helping ensure your project is on track. So these are some of the learning outcomes here that I have on the screen that you can expect to walk away with today. I won't spend too much time reading through these, but we are going to walk through each of them in detail in the product. All right, and with that said, I'm going to pause for a second here. I highly encourage you to open up a browser, log into Northspyre, and follow along as we go through this. It'll definitely help you again. Muscle memory, best way to learn is by doing. All right. So I'm going to start here in the data inbox, which you're hopefully all familiar with. And as you probably know, Northspire's way of eliminating data entry for you. But it's not just for financial documents. You can also send all of your non-financial project-related documents here as well. So over on the rightmost tab, we have the Documents tab. And again, let's say, for example, you receive your 80% construction documents. You can now store those by capturing them directly from your email. All you have to do is, if I go back here, hit this settings bar, you're going to see the email address for this inbox. You can copy it to your clipboard and easily send any document directly to the inbox, which will show up here. You can assign some specific project-related data to this document before accepting it. So here we're pulling off the name from the document. If you want to make any edits to that, you can. We're going to require you to assign a library folder and a document type. This is just to help you stay most organized. The document types, this is a pretty comprehensive list of document types that might occur on a real estate project. So pick the one that applies best. In this case, we're going to go with construction documents. This next piece is really, really critical. So this is actually where I can assign or I can associate this document to a task from my schedule. So in this case, I'm going to assign this to the construction documents task. Again, that's the task from my schedule, this page up here. And I'm even going to assign a progress percentage to this, because this is my 80% CD set. So by updating progress here, your schedule's task progress will simultaneously be updated. So not only is schedule progress now real time, but we've just consolidated a multi-step process into one. Down below, you can also assign a requisition period, vendor, or budget line. This is just, again, associations to help refine your search later in the document library or report on any of these fields. So let's say we wanted to do our architect and our GC. And we're going to assign this to the GMP line. All right, at this point, I would be able to accept this document into my library. So now I want to show you how you can get started from the very beginning. So what we're looking at right now, you'll find, not quite yet, we're releasing this in about a week or so. But this Get Started block will become available, like I said, in a week for any blank state document libraries. So if you don't have any folders or files set up yet, we're giving you a few options, again, just to sort of create the most effective organization for you from the beginning. So I'm going to start here on the far right, actually, and work my way left. But using this existing folder structure, if I click this button, this is basically where I can select another one of the projects in my portfolio to import the same folder tree that I'm using there. So it's going to give you a little preview of the folder tree, and I could import that to start as a base if I wanted to. Again, it's just the folder tree, not the documents themselves. But if you have already set up a folder tree in another project that you want to use as a template across your portfolio, that's a great option for you. This next one is to import your own folders. So this is basically where you can just upload a folder that you might have on your hard drive that has lots of nested folders and files already there. And we'll retain, of course, the structure of the tree as well as all of the files within and the naming conventions. So this is a great option if you have a project that's a little bit further along and you already have all of that data stored somewhere. And then lastly, we have a recommended structure. So again, this is just sort of a full list of document types that you might anticipate on a real estate project. And you can kind of also use this as a checklist to make sure that you're taking all the appropriate steps on your project to really mitigate project risk and maintain schedule. So if you can imagine, before you likely would have had to download all files from your email, upload them to your document management system or hard drive, manually create project folders and the 20 or so project-specific nested folders in each of those. But this really is, again, kind of going to eliminate that administrative burden for you. All right, so I'm going to jump into a sort of populated document library to review some things high level. Like I said, again, this is the same thing we were just looking at, but just already has folders and files set up. Up here at the top, you can see we have a recently opened section, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Again, this is just the documents you've opened most recently are sort of up there at your fingertips. You'll notice down below, we're looking at the table view. So we have folders and files nested here, along with some document metadata over here. These are just a few of the folders expanded, and you can kind of see here we have types assigned. I also want to bring your attention to this icon on the far right. So this is where you can manipulate the columns that are being shown. So maybe you don't care about format or size, but you do care about the task, vendor, budget line, and requisition period associations that you've made to these various documents. So you can see we're going to see all of those here in the table after that update. All right, we also have a card view. So this is, similar to your desktop view. If you prefer this, this is also the best place to drag and drop files. So if you want to just drag and drop files directly here, this is the view to do that in. In table view, as far as uploading files, you're just going to click this upload file button, and then you can drag and drop into this modal. So we also have some pretty powerful filter and search capabilities. We can filter by any of the document data that I've sort of reviewed already. So if we wanted to filter by type, we get this, and we can even, refine that search further by filtering by a specific budget line. I don't know that I've applied any budget lines to the Pro-Forma though, so we'll skip that. But again, just to narrow down your search. And then we also have the search bar over here. This is a great place to filter by name and see sort of all of the relevant folders and files with that name. All right, so I also want to talk about your Pro-Forma. You may have noticed we have a latest Pro-Forma model pinned up at the top left. So it probably goes without saying that this is an iterative living document that is constantly evolving. Meanwhile, you want to have a record of historical versions, which means there are a lot of Pro-Forma documents floating around. So with Northspyre, like I said, you can easily pin the latest version to provide clear visibility to the rest of your org about which they should consider the source of truth. So it's pretty simple. Here you can just click on this ellipses. Well, so it looks like I've selected the one that is pinned, so we could unpin that one. But if I select any other, I'm able to pin that at the top left here. Alrighty, so let's go back to those construction documents. And I'm going to actually open up the document slide out. So here in the slide out, you're going to get a preview of the document. You can use this button to expand it into a larger tab. You also have some document metadata, so format size, et cetera, and all of the associations we've made. You could assign additional tasks to a particular document if you needed to. It's not just only one option available. But I want to bring your attention over to this permissions tab. So let's say, as an example, you've opted not to competitively bid low voltage cabling for security and IT on your project, but you still need to share the construction documents with this vendor to obtain your initial proposal. With document permissions, you can easily share documents externally with vendors. So this dropdown is going to include all of the vendors on your project. Again, I've selected Stellar Structures, and I've shared this with my PM over there, Jovan. And now I'll show you what it looks like from the vendor side of things. All right, so not to worry, our vendor portal is totally separate from the developer side of things. This is, again, we've built this, it's totally free for all vendors. It's for your benefit so that you can effectively collaborate with vendors on your project. I won't get into all of the capabilities available here, but we'll definitely cover it in more detail in a future webinar. But I do want to show you how they can view documents, and that's going to be on this projects tab. If we go into a project. And this theoretically could have a few more options just based on what has been shared with this user. In this case, it's just been a document. But you would also see things like the construction payment tracker here if you are collaborating with anyone on that. And very soon, we're also going to be enabling sharing scheduled tasks with vendors as well. So that would be here. But yeah, so they can view the document here, download it, and provide you that proposal that you need. All right. So let's head back to the data inbox. And I'm going to walk you through how you can set up an approval workflow on documents. So that's going to be this tab right here. And for anyone who is an org admin at your organization, they would see the screen I'm seeing and be able to create a new workflow. Any project managers don't have that ability, but of course they can be users and the approvers in the workflow. All right, so let's say as an example, again, my VP of construction and VP of development both need to sign off on all construction documents before we can proceed. So I'm going to create an approval workflow based on that specific criteria, so that an approval workflow triggers solely when there are construction documents received that need sign off. So right now, the approval condition is going to default to all, meaning all documents that come into the inbox, but you can actually get a lot more granular with what's going to actually trigger a workflow. So you could set it up based on the document library folder assigned, the type, any associated tasks, vendors, or budget lines. So in this case, I'm going to use the type, and I'm going to say construction documents. So now this user, Alex, is only going to have to approve documents that come in that have a construction document type assigned. Great. We would follow that same process again, setting up advanced criteria. Great. And then we can go ahead and save that. This should actually update immediately. You can see now we have this document awaiting approval from these two users. All right. So we spent a lot of time talking about how you can link documents to schedule. I also want to show you how or where in the schedule feature you might find this. So we'll head over to our schedule. And I'm going to go into this CD approval task because, again, we're talking about getting our construction documents approved. I'm going to slow down there. So what you want to do is right-click on the relevant task, and we'll hit Edit here. Here we're going to see the task information modal. This is where you can make any edits to the information. And specifically, I'm going to go over to this Documents tab. So now we can see any documents that have been associated to this task. And this would actually open up that document right here. And we could also, I should say, make any new document assignments. So if we wanted to add any additional, we'll assign the MEP set as well at 80% progress. And we'll go ahead and attach that and save. All right. So the last thing I want to show you is how you can generate reports using your documents. So I'm going to move over from Power Tools to the Report Builder. And let's say, for example, you want to generate a monthly progress report using schedule and progress photos. We'll combine that here and have it directly sent to your email. All right, so I'm pulling in the tasks and milestones report. This is our schedule report. And then I'm also going to pull in our document library report. So this is the report you want to use to input any documents from the library. And you're going to be able to select using a folder, document type, or requisition period. So in this case, I'm going to use my progress photos. And you can see they've shown up here down below, and they're all selected by default. You could also select every folder if you wanted to and like deductively remove. But these are also, you can also reorder these. So you'll notice that if you just drag these around, it's going to reorder the way in which they show up. So I'm actually going to get rid of site clearing. I just want to focus on the steel erection, and I want it ordered in most recent to earliest. So I'll go ahead and save that. I'm going to generate this report now. And let me just open this up for you to show you what that will look like. All right, just received that. So that is actually the last thing I wanted to show you. Hopefully you can now see how Northspire's document library has not only the benefits of traditional document management, but it's also going to facilitate better control and visibility, more collaboration with your partners, and less administrative work. I will open it up to Q&A now. Okay, it looks like you guys might not have been able to see the emailed report, so let me open that back up. And I will reshare. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see now, but this is that report we generated. So you can see here we have our schedule first. All of the overdue tasks are going to be highlighted in red. And then behind that, we have our progress photos that we selected. I do have a little bit of homework for anyone who's still hanging around. I know everyone hates homework, so take it or leave it, but a few action items that you can do following this training session are send a document to the documents inbox, quick and easy. Assign the document type and folder location, which again are required to accept it through the inbox. And this is just to ensure that you are like staying organized to the best of your abilities. But in addition to that, open up the edit modal and assign the document a task, budget, line, and vendor. Next up, create your folder tree. If you want to wait for our like recommended folder tree as an example, hold off until next week on any blank state projects. That should be available very soon. Upload and pin your latest Pro-Forma. And then the last one I have here is to share a document externally with a vendor. That, of course, might be a little bit harder to do unless you actually have a use case where you need to do that. But if you have someone that you can just test it out with, that works too. All right. Well, I think that should do it for today. Thank you all so much again for joining. We'll share this recording with you all after. And there's nothing else. Hope everyone has a great weekend.